Yo, what's going on, guys? And the first priority for the Hornets is to hire a head coach. They've announced that they are interested in Quinn Snyder if he does become available. But you guys do have to understand that they did fire their coach 10 months after giving him a contract extension, which means they'll have to pay him for the next 2 years. Either way, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Sacramento Kings are as well looking for new coaches after firing Frank Vogel and Alvin Gentry, who Alvin Gentry's from, North Carolina. He's a Shelby native. And this is, look, it's pretty safe to assume that the Hornets are going to go with someone who has a good background that will have to command a decent salary and will at least be there for 3 years. And with that being said, it's because there's a possibility of LaMelo Ball hitting restricted free agency, so they need to make sure he's good. And they need to become a team that has a defensive-orientated scheme that does play to his strengths, okay? And when you look at all the candidates, there's some people there because they have to go out of their comfort zone. The last two coaches they tabbed to lead them were assistants. And even though Borrego did have a 30-game stint as an interim head coach in Orlando, it just hasn't worked for them. So in my opinion, there's guys, I've said it in the past video, Darvin Ham, Charles Lee, Sam Cassell, Mark Jackson's out there. And I think if they look at a guy, Sam Cassell, who's been, the lead assistant on Doc Rivers' staff in Philadelphia, knows all about the point guard position. He developed Ben Simmons, and he's developed a bunch of other players like John Wall prior to his days with, Doc Rivers. And I think people don't realize that's huge. And people don't realize the best coaches are former role players. And you see Willie Green, okay, as another example. I think Jason Kidd and Chauncey Billups were stars, but Willie Green, Monty Williams, other guys who were, role players, because they understand. Willie Green was a guy who started, came off the bench as a six-man, barely played, and was, played every factor on our team. So he understands 1 through 15 on the roster, and that's what I think is important. And you saw how Jason Kidd tapped into some early success with both Brooklyn Nets and Milwaukee, but this has been his best team, and it's because of how good his defense is. And then you have Willie Green guiding the Zion Williamless, Pelicans to the playoffs, and it's been fantastic. So when you look at this, the Hornets have a roadmap to look at other teams that they've had success. And this is why I've said, look at the Milwaukee Bucks, look at the Golden State Warriors, okay? Look at, there's other teams around the league that have good coaches, okay? The Spurs bench has good coaches. There's a bunch of them. And that should be the first move of business. Now, next, let's talk about the rest. Finishing the year 43-39 with the ninth best record, ninth best offensive rating is awesome, okay? And look, Gordon Hayward's out. This guy, they got to get rid of him, and he has $61.5 million left to be earned through the 2023 to 2024 season. So let's move on from him. And yes, it's a $30 million price tag, but hey, maybe you can get a couple players by packaging a first-round pick with Gordon Hayward, and you get 3 guys on $10 million contracts apiece, or you get 4 guys on, $6 to $8 million contracts apiece. And finding another center, Miles Turner would be awesome. Okay, yes, he missed some games this year, but this is a guy who's averaged 12.5 points, 6.7 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks since being drafted. And he's a 3-point shooter and one of the best shot blocking bigs in the league. There's also been rumors about Jokic Poeltl, and supposedly Jokic Poeltl being traded for PJ Washington and Kai Jones and a first-round pick was something that Hoops Hype Mike Scotto talked about. That's something they could do. But there's also been Russell Westbrook chatter about him going there, especially because he's a Jordan player, and I just don't think it would fit LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, but this could also become like the Washington Wizards of a few years ago. Now, I think this is a team that it's defense, okay? Let's try to get Gordon Hayward and PJ Washington, and I would keep Kelly Oubre, but Gordon Hayward and PJ Washington, let's move on from them. Let's play, Cody Martin more, okay? Because Cody Martin was fun, okay? Cody Martin is awesome, and I think they should. Kelly Oubre, Cody Martin, James Bouknight should get more playing time. Terry Rozier, LaMelo Ball, Kai Jones, and JT Thor. Hopefully they can play more. They, and Jalen McDaniels, they have the length to, kind of do a similar thing that the Raptors, the T-Wolves did. Have these versatile lineups, and I think they're just, a couple wing players and a good center away from being a good team. So this is where I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think they should do? What would help them the best? It's always just interesting to see how all this goes down, because nobody knows what is best, and that's where I think I'm like, hey, let's try to create a situation that will be great for them and that they can thrive. But that's basically it for me, guys. I want to hear your thoughts down below, like and subscribe.